The gang's all here. We're all back. Welcome to another exciting, electrifying, fake gold chain wearing PP1 podcast. We got all the boys here tonight. We got a full bench. BK Ursel, Bob's son, the BCIT legend himself. He's back in the dungeon. We got Teddy Wong, looking good as ever. Dude just had his 40th birthday. We're going to talk Canucks at 40. Like the book behind my shoulder here. Very clever. Brady, it's been a bit. It's been a minute. How you doing, buddy? Welcome
Brian,
back.
what's up, man? Yeah, it's been a minute. Been out a little bit. Had some family stuff going on. Don't want to bring the mood down a little bit, but my grandfather passed away. I was battling some pancreatic cancer there, so lived a long, good life, and he was a world champion curler, or world finalist curler. He won the nationals in '77, and he was I believe it was a 6-time Quebec provincial champion. Won a couple of seniors national titles, as well as he coached my father to a world title in '84. So
He won the Brier, right?
He did win the Brier. He was the very first Brier winner out of Quebec, and some people say he's the best Quebec curler to ever do it. So, rest in peace to Jimmy Ursel, my papa. This one's for you, man.
Literally a Canadian legend. I mean, he showed up. He showed up in the local newspaper here in Kelowna. Had a nice little spread, a lot of kind words, but mostly just talking about what a great guy he was and what an impact he had on really all parts of Canada, going all the way out west, finding his way out to the prairies, making his mark out there, and then finishing up here in Kelowna, and then having a huge impact on the curling scene here in Kelowna. So I mean, I know that you just rattled off a bunch of his stuff, but it really can't do justice to the impact that he had and how much of a literal Canadian curling legend, and this country cares about curling.
Heck yeah,
that your granddad was. So this one's for Bob's dad.
One's for Bob's dad, for sure.
If you go in behind this massive, amazing mustache, there is 4 stitches on this lip from curling. How do you get stitches at curling?
I gotta hear this.
Supremely athletic, I think, is what you're.
It is the opposite of being supremely athletic. So anybody that knows anything knows about sliders in curling. Well, I was about 12 years old, and we'd get curling lessons, and then we'd have a game right after. So half hour here, hour there. So this was the first week, and now I had been curling for a couple of years. This was the first week I thought, I'm going to put on a slider. So basically, for the people that don't know, it's basically like it's got like an elastic strap on like a plastic like insole, essentially.
Teflon.
Yeah. So basically, you slide down the ice a lot quicker. So I chucked one on my shoe, and I decided we're back and forth, and I don't know if I don't want to bite on my microphone because that might hurt. So I'm biting and like going down on my curling broom like this, and I'm sliding back and forth. Like you slide back and forth on the what are they called? The hockey slides or whatever those things. I'm not on the hack, but just like if you had like.
I think Brady's here to help assist you tell your story.
No, you got it. It wasn't the hack. I would have tripped on that. So anyway, back and forth. Well, I slip. Our instructor is teaching or whatever. I slip as I hit one of the dividers between the sheets. Fall over. I don't even know how I did it. Somehow bite over my lip, almost bit right through it. I look on the ice. There's no blood on the ice. Not bad.
What?
Not bad.
How?
When I look at my hands. Yeah, there's a lot of blood.
Full of blood.
So 12-year-old me, not the biggest fan of blood. So anyway, get off the ice. I'm freaking out. Run to the bathroom. And my dad was picking me up in like 20 minutes or so. So I get there. They call him. Hey, you got to come. Your son's bleed, blah, blah.
Go quick.
So I'm freaking out. I'm just freaking out. Like, again, I see all this blood. I'm like, holy crap, what happened? So they get me ice. I'm holding it. So anybody that knows me knows needles and me, not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. So needless to say, get in the car and we're driving, and my dad's like, he's just kind of chuckling like, what an idiot. Like I do remember him kind of chuckling behind his breath. And I'm crying and I'm freaking out. And I'm like, am I going to? He's like, you're going to need stitches.
How old were you? Maybe like 25.
You'd think this was yesterday. Might as well have been. And so he's like, yeah, you're gonna need stitches. I'm like, does that mean I need a needle? He's like, well, yeah. How are they gonna freeze it? So now I don't even care about the lip anymore. I'm just thinking needle, and I'm losing it. So anyway,
Oh no.
go to the doctor on the way home, stitches me all up. Obviously, I'm now losing it even more because it hurts. And next thing you know, I got a little few stitches. So every time there's fireworks at a concert and they get like the explosion, Nickelback concert, this is how I found out, it pinches right around the scar. It's the weirdest thing. Fun little fact about me.
Love it. Love the story.
See, curling.
Everyone's got a curling injury. It's
everybody.
It is
Everybody
dangerous.
does.
It's very slippery.
Yeah. It's entirely possible to ruin your entire life. So, a little bit about me, a little bit about you.
Yeah,
Ted,
there you go.
Ted, you got any curling injuries?
Just it was extremely, extremely damaging to my confidence and morale. That's all.
Yeah, that hurts a bit, Yeah.
No, I mean, I did it in high school and stuff like that, and I tried playing in like a curling league for a little while. I'm just not good at it. I think it's one of those things for sure that you can't just like. It's like I golf. It's what I was gonna say. It's like I golf once a year or something like that, and you go out and you golf with your buddies who golf 15, 20 times a year, and you're like, why
am I here?
I'm a better athlete than you. Why can I not keep up? Because it's like there's just so many other factors, right? Such a technical, strange sport that involves like such a high amount of finesse that it's just not something you teach. It can only come from repetition.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. I got out there a couple of years ago, and man, I was bad. Like I haven't curled since I was 18. I curled competitively for a long time, but stopped 10 years ago, and I've lost it, man. I am not the same as I used to be.
And just a great junior curler too. I mean, we don't talk enough about your curling exploits, but you were.
Hey, I was all right.
I remember you working at JC and having to take off for bonspiels and stuff all the time. Like you were a really good junior curler, so it was obviously it ran in the family.
Yeah, remember on Jersey Day? I swear, one day I came in on Jersey City Jersey Day, a Saturday, and I wore my my Papa Jim's BC Briar jersey that he wore when he was coaching. He was coaching my dad at the Briar, so that was pretty cool.
That's a heavy flex right there.
Yeah. But hey, guys, Canucks regular season.
That's true.
It's about that time.
It is
82 game season. Fans are in the building, and Duncan Keith finally got his.
Oh, Brady, you're just blowing it up right away.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, I think that was the highlight of game one was Tyler Myers absolutely destroying Duncan Keith. I don't know if he hammered him into next week or if he hammered him like 10 years back until when he hit Daniel. It was nasty.
Say the words, buddy. Say the words.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna blow our wad right off the bat. Let's hit
it. Roll that clip.
Tyler Myers takes out Duncan Keith. I'll tell you, did he ever steamroll Duncan Keith on that hit?
Boom shakalaka.
Justice was served. Cold and sweet.
Yeah,
daydreaming about that all day, man.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, you know what?
That hit was 10 years in the making. Really, right? I mean, you touched on it earlier, and all I could think of the second that it happened was, people don't forget.
No,
exactly.
No. People don't forget.
Exactly. Love it, Ted. I thought that too.
So good.
You have to love like the rivalry of like the fan rivalry for that. That hatred is just so strong.
Oh, it's seething.
Was that 9-10 years ago?
And I think it's about 10 years.
Every single time he touches the puck.
Yeah. It was great. Just
he
perfect,
gets
though, hey?
booed. And I just think that's an amazing way for a Canucks fan to see Duncan Keith start his career in Edmonton.
Oh, it's perfect.
I'll tell you what. I am usually the leader of the squash train when it comes to Tyler Myers. I mean, you guys know that I am not the hugest Tyler Myers fan, but I'll tell you right now, this bought him at least 5 weeks of good grace. And I, at this very moment, big Tyler Myers fan.
Nice.
Okay, just before we will get into it a little bit later. We will, but are we going to basically make him, voided from Dudes and Guys this week?
Oh,
he's voided. He's voided from Dudes and Guys for me. Other than being a dude,
is what I'm saying.
He's voided from being. I'll completely forget about. I think it was the first goal that Edmonton scored, when Myers was covering the right side of the net, and I'm not sure I think he was covering a ghost or something like that. There was nobody over there within 5 feet.
Right.
Walks in, scores. It was the first goal on Demko. I'm not sure who he was covering, but I've already forgotten because of that huge hit. So I'm over it. I don't even care.
No.
Weird. How a year changes everything, hey?
Hey, that's a heck of a way to endear yourself to a group of fans who are already pretty. They're already pretty on the fence whether or not they like you. He's a very polarizing player. I think we know that about this guy. So if anything, he's galvanized a bunch of people now that are in his corner. I think for at least a short period of time, he's won himself some good graces. I'm a fan of it. Anytime you're going to run a guy like Duncan Keith over, hey man, I'm here for you. I got
like
you.
It could have been anyone, but it
could have been anyone.
But it was Duncan Keith.
You know what? Could have been anyone, and I would have been stoked about. That was a huge hit. Who cares that it was Duncan Keith? That was always the problem, right? Duncan Keith would do something shitty, and the Canucks fans would be like, "We're going after him," just like they tried to go after him when he two-handed Daniel.
Yeah,
they tried to go him after the next game, but you can't hit a guy like Duncan Keith, right? He's too shifty. It was like trying to hit Quinn Hughes, right? So now he's a little bit older. He's a step slower, and the big man, big man.
Here comes 6'7". Watch out.
And the best part about it too was after that, I can't remember who came after him, wanted to fight him, dropped the gloves. Next thing you know, he's pounding the guy in the face. And I'm thinking, oh my God, Myers is definitely going to the box. He could be getting like a major. There's blood. Like, what's going on? Where's the replay?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we're on the I come back and we're on the power play. PP1's out there, shooting on net. And I'm thinking, and there's Tyler Myers. He's just shit grinning in the box, and just thinking, wow, Daniel must be smiling inside right now.
Every once in a while, I don't know, I wish it happened more often. Every once in a while, Tyler Myers remembers that he's the biggest guy on the ice.
Every once in a while, you're right.
It'd be nice if it was a little bit more than once in a while. So it's fine. We got a bunch to talk about, boys. Brady, you brought up obviously probably the biggest thing that's happened to start the season, aside from they almost took that game. They stole a point anyway. We've got in the rundown here, so they're opening on a 6-game road trip. We've got a bunch of signings. We've got some waiver stuff. Mr. Brock Besser isn't quite ready, nor is Brandon Sutter or Hamnick. We're going to get into that. Brady, you kind of brought up about a tweet you had about Vancouver's best fighter. We'll get into that as well. I'm assuming you wrote something about JT Miller going to center, and I'm going to absolutely make sure that doesn't get enough talk. There's a few other funny things, and then the first official dudes and guys. We're bringing it back. We're bringing it back.
It's
Brady
back,
asked. Brady asked if the song was going to get played. I said, "Bro, we brought the song back last week. It's good to go. It's ready to roll.
Ready to rock."
So, you Levy, he gone. It's over. We can stop talking about him. I'm pretty good with this. I know, Brady, you kind of had a soft spot for Mr. OJ.
Oh, yep.
I'm happy it's over. We got Noah Juleson. We got the other guy, Lamecco, that I still didn't know who he was halfway through the game. I'm like, holy, who's this new guy? So, but it's run its course. Like, I think we freak out. I mean, against another player that is no longer here as well, out in Russia. I think we just get so tied into these guys because they're our guy or perceived to be our guy. Of course. That we believe that every player that's ever drafted or signed here has to amount to the greatest possible potential ever. Well, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. It'd be nice if it did. I think the league would be so much better, although then nobody would ever lose their job and it would probably get stale at some point. So am I sad to see Oli Ulevi leave? No, I'm not. At the same time, if he lights it up, and not lights it up, but if he becomes a mainstay in Florida, all the power to him. It's one of those change of scenery things that does happen all the time. It just didn't work out for the Canucks. And, hey, man, I hope he has a good career. He was dealt a pretty crappy hand to start. So if he gets going, right on, man. But it wasn't going to happen in Vancouver. Brady, how do you feel about it?
I mean, you guys know I supported him. Wanted to see him do well. 5th overall draft pick. I was happy about that. Obviously, at the time, wanted Tkachuk. Still would prefer that. But, I really thought when he started playing in Utica and started getting past those injuries, that he was going to have a chance of turning things around. The Canucks did everything they could to groom him and to give him an opportunity. But to be honest, I was pretty shocked to see, it went around Twitter quite a lot, him in the preseason, the bag skate. It's not his first.
You were there.
The bag skate. Yeah, no, I wasn't there at that time. I had left at that time. But yes, I saw some pictures, saw how terrible that was. So, just I think it's run its course, and when he's clearly being outplayed from other guys, depth guys we've signed, and also rookies coming into the lineup, it's just time for him to go. I think the shakeup was warranted. He wants to try to make it in the NHL, and it was kind of looking like he was almost a 9th defenseman on this depth chart. I don't know what happened to him in the off season. I really didn't think that we were going to see a drop like this drastically, but no, just it's time to move on, and I wish him the best in Florida. I'm happy we got 2 players back, and a right side D-man is good for us right now, and a center with a bit of size who can maybe gives us a chance to bring Miller back up into the top 6 if we want to. So, or if the Canucks want to. So
I think they do.
Kind of all over there with a bunch of different thoughts on the whole situation, but it's just time to go.
Wow. We wrapped up in a nice way. No one got hurt. We didn't call each other names. Olli Juolevi's gone, and everybody's okay with it. Ted, are you okay with it, or are you?
Yeah, I mean,
is this the one that got away?
No, I think Brady hit the nail on the head that it was just time. I think I too. You guys know this about me. I too was an Olli Juolevi supporter. I was such a fan of his when he played in London, and how good he was taking over that role and that spot from Olli Mata, who is an NHLer now and has been playing and plying his trade in the league for a long time. But he looked like he was what this franchise needed. And you were always under the assumption that he was going to be one of those players that played better with better players. You know how there's always those guys that they're just elevated by having better players that they can get the puck to, right? Like make a nice stretch pass and it's not going to die on somebody's stick. And I always had that impression with Juolevi, and he always seemed like he was a solid defender, but a guy who could quarterback your power play and help you on the penalty kill and log big minutes. And I loved coming out of junior how cocky and arrogant he was, right? And then things started to really turn for him, and that all happened with injuries, right? And then injuries really slowed him down, and I think it robbed him of just some really crucial, important development years. And by the time he sort of came out of it, like Brady said, playing in Utica, had some good seasons. He had that good season playing in TPS in Finland with Sami Salo. We were like, okay, he's starting to really come around, but there was always that glaring shade where he was starting to get beat wide by guys who had NHL speed. And so we were hoping that was going to get worked out. By the time he starts making it out, playing in some NHL games, I think by then we'd all sort of tempered expectations. Right? We weren't thinking that this is the guy that's going to be the 4th or the 5th overall pick. This isn't a top 10 pick anymore. This is probably not a first rounder, but he's probably like a serviceable 2nd rounder pick, right? Well, we're hoping we can get a top 6 defenseman out of him. Before you know it, he's been surpassed in the depth chart by guys like, Rathbone and free agent signings and even, a guy like Jalen Chatfield from years past, right? So I think that it was the right time. They did it at a time where he still had some value. And for them to get what they got for
a good haul
for this version of Olli Juolevi was great. They got the right shot defender in Noah Juleson. He's also a BC boy. There's been lots of guys that have come back home to improve their game. And this isn't the best piece of this draft, right? This is a lottery ticket. Just like Juolevi is a lottery ticket going the other direction with our favorite trade partners out in Florida. Absolutely. But the real player here who's really going to help this franchise now is Juho Lammikko, right? I mean, the guy is a very good, a very adequate 4th line center who can log some big minutes, who can play similar to Brandon Sutter, who just happens to be out right now. He can also play the wing. Sutter can play the wing. He's very versatile. So all of a sudden, and cheap. And then all of a sudden our 4th line is now littered with players that can kill penalties. And that was the exact reason why Highmore made this squad. and why a guy like Mott is so important. And a reason why a guy like Gadjevich didn't make the squad, and a reason why a guy like McEwen didn't make the squad, and why ultimately they were left off. And it's a whole nother story how they were claimed on waivers, but it's the more you can do when you get to the NHL, right? And if all things are equal and one guy can kill penalties and one guy can't, you get the ace up your sleeve and you get that shot. And that's what makes Lammikko so good. He was playing under Barkov out in Florida, who's, what a great guy to learn from, right? And this is a nice player. I really like this player coming back, and I think it's going to be a good one for us.
I think you talk about how he can kind of play up and down a little bit too. Like you think about Jannik Hansen, right? He was able to play up and down the lineup almost anywhere, right? Like you could throw him in a spot and he's your Swiss Army knife, which again in the NHL, especially come playoff time, right? You get to the point where you just need a guy to fill a spot, but you need a useful guy to fill a spot. You're not just going to chuck someone in there because they happen to play that position. You know that you're not going to get necessarily any mistakes, but you're not going to see or glaring mistakes. May chip in for a goal or at least a point, but he's responsible and you don't have to worry about him. And, if you can get a guy in the cheap like that, plus you get an opportunity, maybe Juleson, becomes a serviceable, 6-7 or better if they really luck out. I mean, at that point, you're trading sides and you're hoping that you can, you can rehab some guy's career. And then you've, like you're saying, Ted, you've also got a guy that is in the lineup today, which is great.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I just kind of want to, if you have another thing to say, go right ahead, because I kind of want to shift this into.
Oh yeah. I definitely, I think he's your typical Finn too. Like this guy he's your typical checking Finn, right? And when I think checking Finn, I think a guy who's a bit of a shit, right? I mean, I think of the Jarkko Ruutus of the world and those types of players. And I think he's got a little bit of that in. He's not the same kind of yappy, but he's the exact reason why Jannik Hansen annoyed so many people is because he works so hard, right? And I think it could be a very similar player to that in a bottom six capacity. Maybe as a center, think of like a Max Lapierre, but with less of the extracurricular shit that got him into trouble.
Yeah,
for sure. Not that this trade affected that, but you guys did bring it up that we've lost some sizable players on waivers in the last week or two. Actually, we can not really Cole. I won't bring Cole Lind into this, but we lost him. We lost Gadjevich. We lost McEwen. And I know it's kind of been talked about a little bit. Where's the team toughness on this roster now?
Myers.
You look at it up and sometimes, right? Every now and then.
That's the beginning and ending right there.
That's it, right? Yeah, Tyler Myers. So, that's it, right? Like the team toughness is a bit questionable right now. I know, the league's says they're kind of going away from a fighting kind of league, but that's never going to happen. What do you guys think about, how we look right now in terms of grit?
I mean, I think they don't have maybe the obvious toughness, if you will, but you look at a guy like JT Miller, not afraid to make sure that he sticks up for his teammates. Bo Horvat, I mean, good London boy out there. He's not stepping down from anybody. Tyler Myers has shown it a few times. I mean, he doesn't strike you as a guy that is going to like will his way onto you in a fight, but they have, I guess it's more of like the toughness you want throughout the game. Like, I think we're all just kind of assuming like the big hit, the fights, all that kind of stuff. It is going towards more of the skill game. And I think I would rather have guys that can maybe just last longer in the corner, guys that can last longer in a scrum or be able to get out of traffic at the front of the net when guys are maybe holding them back or something. And I think they have those guys. I mean, Podkolzin may be a guy that we're going to see again, as a fourth liner for now anyway. Maybe he's one of those guys that steps up. I think they have guys. I don't necessarily think that they need to have, the Ryan Reeves types of players or, those absolute shift disturbers where, they're getting under guys' skin and get the odd fight. Like, they're going to have a few fights. I don't think that's what this team needs to be known for, though.
Okay, but what's going to happen when someone did what Tyler Myers did to Duncan Keith to EP40? What are the Canucks going to do then?
Well, when we had people to do that, nothing. So I think we might as well have more talent if it's not going to happen anyway. Like, what did happen, Ted? What happened when any of our stars got hit?
Nothing.
The last few years?
Nothing happened. When he got Matheson, nothing happened, and there was guys on the roster that could handle themselves, and nothing happened. So
Everybody waited.
I see what you're saying, Brady. I liked a guy like McEwen. I liked seeing a big hit, but other than the odd big hit and a decent run of offensive spark that he provided from time to time, he didn't really move the needle for me. And I don't know what I was expecting from a Zach McEwen anyways. I mean, he was an undrafted free agent. Everything that he's got, he's definitely earned. But I mean, you can't expect anything more than fourth line minutes from a guy like a Zach McEwen. So that being said, I having a dedicated tough player on my roster, like an Antoine Roussel, or like I can't remember his name. Also escaping my brain. Where he hurt his neck and he had to retire. Why can't I not remember his name?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Everybody's Dorsett. Derek Dorsett. I mean, I don't need those players on my roster. I only have room on my roster for guys who can play 10 minutes and up and be solid possession players, because I think that's where you just force other teams into taking awful penalties. And that cup run team specifically, if you can think about a tough player that was on that squad, I'd be curious to know, because even the ones that were tough, like the Kevin BXs of the world, they were actually top 4 defenders who just happened to be tough. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather us just dominate in possession, have poor and bad penalties taken on us, and just make them pay on the power play every single time, because that's where you're going to scare guys away. That's where you're going to make a guy like a Ryan Reeves absolutely useless. There's no room for a Reeves out on the ice if all he does is take a penalty and boom, we get scored on.
Tom
Boom,
Wilson.
We can't play a Tom Wilson, because every time he's out there, he takes a penalty. We're going to staple his ass to the bench. Now we're one player less down. That to me is team toughness. That's one less guy that's taking shifts. That's everybody else becoming more and more taxed. And we start to lose those players in those types of games where we're getting beaten up because we're just making them score. That being said, we have to start making people play on the power play.
There's 2 more guys, Brady, and maybe I'll get you to touch on them. I think we're also forgetting a guy like Jason Dickinson, who definitely is going to be that kind of. He's kind of the more useful, talented offensive guy that we would have wanted. Roussel, less of the between the whistle stuff. And then I think we're really forgetting the one guy he's doing it offensively, but he is an absolute thorn in every defender's side since he came into the league last year. Höglander, like he's in there. He doesn't give up. And
no, that's definitely not.
I mean, you're not going to ask him to fight, but at the same time, like, man, I don't want to be in the corner with a guy like that. Like, it's going to be annoying. He's going to bang around, and he's ended up with the puck.
He's a little guy, but he's going to mess you up.
Exactly. He's got that small man.
Got some honey badger in him. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Where's the guy who's going to answer the bell when people start taking liberties? And I just don't think that this team has it. I don't think they've had it for a while, if I'm being completely honest.
They haven't.
Well,
so they didn't use them. They didn't do anything. There
is a bunch of guys that are tough to play against. And I think adding, like you said, Dickinson is a good example. I think adding a Podkolzin is a really good example. I think eventually Lockwood coming up is that same type of guy. Those guys are just going to consistently hurt you physically by leaning on you. And that's why I think I was a little bit upset seeing a guy like Gadjevich leave.
Sure. Well, I was a bit upset too. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you look at all the guys that get claimed off of waivers, like, is there really, can you think of one player we've lost on waivers that it ends up biting us in the ass and you're actually like, man, I wish we still had that guy? Like, can you think of one?
I mean, I can't think of one readily, but I mean, yeah, there has been players that get claimed off waivers that end up making.
Oh, for sure, it does happen.
A fantastic spark too, right?
Yeah.
I think the thing that I was annoyed about with the Gadjevich thing was, hey, you got your intro to the NHL. You're obviously a little bit too big. You need to improve your skating. You got to get a little bit faster because we know that you're a bit of a net front savant.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and make those changes. Goes back, makes the changes, cuts 10 pounds, comes back to camp, gets almost no shot when the games start to matter to make the team. So to me, that's saying, hey, we're going to ask you guys to make these changes. We see that you make the changes. That didn't do anything for me. So as a young player, I might be thinking, if I do the things I ask, it actually might not impact anything.
For sure.
And the guys that are doing something, are on this team right now. I mean, probably not a handful of names we probably didn't expect, but the guys that are there have earned their spot thus far.
It's nice to see the change. Like it's I'm watching the game and there was a lot of energy. They came out, and it's just, especially the bottom six. I was just like, wow, this is completely different than last year. And it feels amazing. Like the Canucks, they have a fourth line. Like, it's going to take them some time to like get together and like actually start being all right. But, with these decently sized, bigger bodies, like these younger players, they got some drive. It was exciting, it was really exciting. So
I agree. And this isn't even the best version of what this fourth and third line can be, right?
No,
I mean,
not even close.
This is the patchwork bottom six that still doesn't include Brandon Sutter and Tyler Mott.
And it doesn't have a top winger in Brock Besser. So
no, exactly. It's
when you have that full lineup, all of a sudden, exactly, the trickle down effect. So now potentially you've got your lotto line. So now you can load up on line 2. Now you've got options for sure on line 3, and you can pick whatever you want for line 4. And then obviously the defensive side as well. Like we've seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot on Twitter in the last couple of days. Like this team might actually be interesting to watch this year. Like it's not going to be the boring team we've seen, kind of carried over the last few years. Like every game's like last night, look how jacked Edmonton was to it. I know it was the first game of the season, but I mean, I was invested in that game until the very last shot. And I mean, I probably would be anyway, but it's this team there was just a little bit more, it seemed, in that game. Them coming back, like it almost looked like it was going to be the typical Canucks. And then all of a sudden they get one and then they tie it and you're like, you've got like, all right, you got me. I'm in. I'm here. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's win it. And then it gets to the shootout and you're thinking like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just own this and just bury it in a shootout. Like overtime was phenomenal. So
yeah, it was fun.
It's a fun team. And I mean, there's going to be a lot of different talking points, I think, this season, because they've done a lot to change this team. So
what do you guys think of the overall lineup? Like, I mean, I was a bit surprised at a couple of the moves, but I mean, nothing too surprising. I didn't mind putting Colson on the fourth line. Probably a really good spot for him to start. But I mean, would you guys maybe want to run through the lines, talk about what we thought of them?
I mean, Alex Chason made the team.
He did. And like, you know what? We didn't bring that up in the Zach McEwen thing. I mean, I'd like to say that, it sucks we lost McEwen. It was nice to see him, become a player here. But at the same time, if we can grab a guy, like an experienced guy like Chason, and he can play on a top line on the power play, I mean, that's it. I'm going to take a guy who can jump on the top unit power play over, a fourth liner that can drop the gloves here and there. So,
just win, baby.
I was happy to see that $750,000 deal, and he's a great fill-in player for us right now. I think
that's this year's chew through a rope guy, right?
Yeah,
exactly. That's this year's Jack Skilly, and man, we just talked about the fact that Gadjevich is such a good net front presence, and Chason might be better. I mean, the guy has spent some serious time playing with some serious good players on the power play, no less, showing what he can do, and he can actually pop some goals. I mean, so this is, they talked about it in the game. All this guy does is played on pro tryout contracts, like third one now, and he's going to spend some time here in Vancouver. And to be honest, there's worse players that we can have, but he reminds me a lot of Yannick Hansen, though, the way he looks. So that I'm having a hard time with that, but. I mean, yeah, this is a better player than a Zach McEwen, and nobody can tell me otherwise.
I'm still getting over Burrows on defense.
Yeah, he's only a couple years off a 22 goal. I think it was a 22 goal season, or maybe it was a 22. No, I think it's 22 goal season. And he's obviously doing that on the power play with guys like McDavid or guys like with Ovechkin. I think he played out in Washington a bit, but a guy that can jump in the lineup, pot some goals, have a bit of toughness, net front presence.
The NHL's a funny league that way, hey?
But
you get guys that just kind of like, screw it. Like a Bobby Ryan has a comeback, or like Phil Kessel kind of dropped out and then all of a sudden became an absolute burner again. Like, I mean, I'm comparing way different players, but you look at some of these guys that just kind of pop up and all of a sudden become something. And yeah, they're all just kind of riding these PTOs, or they're riding a 1-year deal. Like, well, I'll take just over the league minimum because I have a name on my back, but whatever. And then they do something with it.
And to boot, I mean, so it was 2018, 2019, he popped 22 and then had another 9 last year in a shortened season. So, I mean, extrapolate that, you're looking at about an 18 goal season. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen with a guy like this. It wouldn't surprise me to see him play in a bunch of games and end up in, because stuff happens throughout the season, to end up with like 25, 35 points. It's possible that he outpaces a Tanner Pearson somehow, right? I mean, this isn't out of the realm because this guy's put up points like this before. And the worst thing that happens if this team falls out of playoff contention, and this is just another piece that you could possibly trade away at the deadline because it owes you nothing.
Exactly. Yep. You get a second or third. Boom. Way to go, Jimbo. How about a thank you, Jim?
Yeah, exactly. So
no dissing there.
And what I like about it too is he's one of those guys you can literally play him on any line. Like he could jump on the first line in a pinch. He can play on the second with Bo. You can be on the third in a defensive role. Same with the fourth.
He could be the Yannick Hansen.
A little bit of Yannick Hansen.
Yeah.
Nice. What about the second line, guys? I was a little surprised to see Hoglander on the third. I don't want to jump to Hoglander too quick. I did really like him on the third line, but the second line, what do you guys think of Hoglander with Horvat and Pearson? That winger we've been looking for.
Connor Garland, you mean?
Who did I say?
Garland? You said Hoglander again. Garland.
Oh, I did. Yeah, my bad. Okay, Connor Garland. What do you guys think of Connor Garland?
I loved him for the first full viewing of him that I've been able to see because I haven't seen all the preseason, but I liked him on that line. I think Tanner Pearson actually looked pretty good, and I guess we didn't have to trade him, although it's still early. We may need to still.
Yeah, the girlfriend was loving Pearson last night.
It was a good outing for that line. I like what I saw. Again, it's one game. I'm sure we're going to be hating a lot of people over the course of the season, but yeah, I liked Connor Garland. I thought he brought everything that he was as advertised. I mean, again, low scoring game, but he did the hockey things right. It's that simple. Like he did what I was expecting him to do in a game. He was kind of gritty. He got involved in the offense as far as in the drives there. He didn't stand out massively, but he definitely made sure that you knew who he was.
Would it be accurate to say that he plays a similar kind of style to Hoglander? Maybe not as energetic, but kind of similar. Like they kind of like maybe more so just because they're smaller, kind of shifty players. They kind of got to be quick to find open ice. Like I noticed with Garland, he was very he was spinning off guys a lot. I think he spun off 2 guys on one shift. Very kind of moving around, trying to be creative. But I noticed that was his style of game.
That's the mold of a small player, right? I mean, they're never gonna go, almost never gonna go just head to head with a guy, right? Unless they just straight up know they can beat him, and it's like a balance or a leverage thing, right? So they're always gonna spin off, and just generally, I think the smaller players. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is snipers out there, obviously, but they tend to just be. They tend to play a little more in the perimeter and make plays, right? So, yeah, they both play a similar sort of game. I think in terms of Garland ending up on the second line over a Hoglander, I mean, I feel like he's going to be the guy that's going to get the first crack at it, right? He's the veteran. He's the big piece that they brought in. He's the respected NHL veteran, right? I mean, I think he was fine. I mean, 20 minutes or so. I think he was out there with Bo. Pace-wise, it was not an issue for him. I saw him make some really nice plays that could have been, in midseason, maybe could have been some tap-ins and some really nice goals, right? So you can really see the creativeness from a guy like that. And I feel like Bo needs a playmaker because he is more of a scoring center. And I know that he's good for, a bunch of assists in a year, but he is a goal scoring center. So to have a playmaker for him is good. I feel like Hoglander is a little bit more of a shooter than Garland at this point. Or at least it looks that way early on in the season. But what a nice luxury to have to be able to move a guy like Hoglander or Garland into that spot and play him with a guy like Bo, knowing that both those guys are going to be able to play the nasty role in the corners and get after guys and then also dish the puck. So
it's, you talk about like almost, it sounds cheesy to say, but you have 3 veterans on that second line and Hoglander's still earning his stripes. You've got a guy like Connor Garland and Tanner Pearson. Like, I mean, Pearson's obviously been around a lot longer, but you've got guys that have been in the league that have already been able to establish themselves. And I mean, Hoglander's still going to get there, but you can shelter him on third. You can give him third line minutes, and that's where he's going to make hay, right? Like you can keep him there for a chunk of the season, and it's not like you're hindering his development or his opportunities. He's going to get different types of opportunities because he's on that third line. Like Bo Horvat, when he came in, he was on the fourth line, and we're all freaking out because he was too good for the fourth line, but he was still making the most of it down there because they still had guys ahead of him. So now that we're in a position where we've got two lines where, I mean, when everybody's healthy, all of a sudden now, like, maybe Shazon goes down to like third or who knows, but all of a sudden now you've got that kind of talent where you don't have to force the guy that we'd love to see. Everybody loves Podkolzin, the idea of him and Höglander, but realistically, you want to see those guys develop unless they're absolute world burners, like, like a Brock Besser walks in or EP. I mean, these are the guys we have, but it does take time to find that stride. So just let them work on their game at the pro level, but they don't need to be your stars yet. And when they become your stars, that's when they're that much better. That's when they're the guys that you just can't help but notice, and where everyone else is already doing their job. Now you've got an embarrassment of riches at that point. Maybe.
Well said.
Maybe. I am talking about the Canucks, so I could be talking about my ass too. So before we get into the next thing, I did have a big announcement, or some big news that I was going to talk about, and I'll make it quick. Today, I was driving on my way home from work, and I saw a guy behind me wearing a bucket hat. Unironically, he was wearing maybe a Kangol hat. People don't wear these anymore. He looked like an idiot, cranking his bass behind me. Looked like an absolute loser. Why are people doing this? Brady, do you still have a bucket hat?
No, I don't. But
and he would have been, I would say maybe late 20s, maybe early 30s, and he looked like just an absolute loser. Are
you talking about like?
I'm talking about exactly what you think I'm talking about.
A bucket hat, or you said Kangol? Are you talking about the one that like?
Yeah,
almost like a caddy hat,
like that.
Or like, oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, girlfriend's got like 2 or 3 of them. I don't wear those things. Yeah, I feel like Ted really suits him though.
So now he was wearing more of like the Kangol.
Ted can pull that off.
He was wearing. It looks a little funny on you, but I'm also
got
not.
it.
You also have like your big sun hat, and at the same time, you do whatever you need to do, Ted, because
it's missing a giant chain though.
Yeah, that's what this is about. No, I don't wear this. I wear this ironically. This guy was wearing it, and it just looked like this was part of his persona. So I just need to break it up. I figure people need to know that these people are still out there in society. And I just wonder, like, is he walking around town wearing like one of these Kangol hats? Like, we're in 2021.
Dude,
things need to change.
People wear this was the year of the bucket hat.
Was it?
Yeah, it really was.
This past, you see, everybody had bucket hats on, man.
Yeah.
Did you go to the beach at all this year?
I did.
And you didn't see any bucket hats?
I probably just tried to not remember. I think that's probably what it was.
Bucket hats are big this year. Hey, just telling you the truth. Shorts and bucket hats.
Again, I mean the shorts. I don't know why that became a thing, but I'm okay with that.
I don't know if I'll ever go back to long shorts.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, geez, with your thighs, geez, you're showing off like, wow, this is my gym body. So I'm not going to tell you otherwise because you could easily dominate me. So.
No, come on.
Well, you could. I mean, I'm not going to test that.
Where's this conversation going?
I have no idea. Anyway, bucket hats. So just thought you guys would want to know about that. One thing, I tried finding a clip of this, and apparently there just wasn't one. You guys saw the Pettersson dangle in that game last night, right?
Yeah, very early.
Brady's on mute, and he's just freaking out because he's like, I saw it as the best thing ever.
Who didn't see that? It was damn nice.
Yeah, like, that defender, I think, didn't see it.
Oh, and had he scored on that, like, it was just, he did the dangle, and then he put it through his legs as well in traffic.
He did the damn thing.
He did the damn thing.
It was a very early game 1 Danglesaurus Rex.
That's a good way to put it.
I'm up for. I can't even do that in a video game. I've tried. It was amazing.
I don't even think he knew he could pull it off. He was just.
I think he did. He's got all those cheat codes locked in there. He was just. It was a
X,
lot.
Y, up, down, X, Y, 0, 0, square, or circle, square. Yeah.
You speak in my language. I like you. We're gonna keep you.
There you
around.
go. I still remember those Grand Theft Auto cheat codes, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to pause the game. I keep the laptop right beside me. Like, okay, what was full ammo and health again?
Yeah. I don't remember. I'm up,
Travis
down,
Hamonic.
down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We're gonna get into.
It's funny though. Yeah, missing Camp though. Him and Quinn Watkins easily still look like our best players. Don't miss a beat. The hands are already there. There's no rust to shake off whatsoever. Instant continuity for the rest of the players on the ice. And we're at that point again where we're just seeing stuff from them. It's game one, and every game you're like, oh, whoa. You know, I mean, that was the Twins thing for so many years, right? There was something that happened every single game that one of them did that made me go, wow. And we're so blessed to still have that.
After he gets robbed by Smith, and he just kind of looks and just shakes his head like, man, I should have had that. Yeah. Like he's instantly into midseason form, like belief mode. Like I should score on every shot I take. I mean,
he's probably thinking, "Fuck, Mike Smith is such a weenie. I can't believe I let him stop me."
I hate Mike Smith. Ugh. What a bum.
Even the play where it went into his pads or whatever, and it was like 1 steamboat, 2 steamboat, a little tap on his pads, and he's not sure where he kicks his legs out, like the inflatable wacky waving arm man at the car lots.
The
like
wacky and waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Oh yeah. Brutal. He is so brutal.
But still, they like him out there in Edmonton. You know what? Let him be their Edmonton hero.
For a big goalie that's like 6'4" or whatever, 225, he's wet paper towel, like on purpose. I don't like it.
Like a bounty or the ones that rip?
He's less so than the quicker, thicker, picker upper.
Yes. Picks up ragu sauce.
All right,
no problem.
You guys, we're coming up on the top of the hour. Definitely got a couple things to talk about.
Should we get into
one thing? No, not quite yet. Not quite yet,
I
Ryan.
got it loaded, frack Brady.
I know. We're almost there. We got to make him wait for it. We got to make him wait for it. I think we need to talk about OEL. We got to talk about OEL, you guys. What'd you think?
He scored.
He did. He scored the first Canucks goal. How fitting.
You see my tweet? Ole,
OEL.
ole. Wait, OEL.
Oh, nice. I didn't see that. No.
That's fine. I got goals coming left, right, and center. It's fine.
But yeah, OEL scores the first goal for the Canucks. Myers lays out Keith. We're going to win the cup this year, right?
We're going to go 81-0-1.
Exactly.
The first ever season of said record.
No, but hey, I thought he looked good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, didn't look out of place. He is better than.
Nor should he.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Yeah.
We kind of needed to be this. All right, I will do that. That's a fair point.
Like, Oliver, we need you to play like a top 2 D-man. Like, can you do that for us? Because that's what you're being paid like, and that's what you are. So if you could come to Vancouver and also do that, that would be great.
We've been burnt, I think, for so many years on these kind of contracts, right? Like we've just seen so much of Louis that I think it's like maybe players are like this.
We don't talk about
Luongo.
Don't say his name.
That's Luongo. Louis.
We should just refer to him as Voldemort from now on. Okay. Man, OEL as advertised. I love the way he does what you need him to do from the point when he has the puck on his stick, right? He walks the line and he moves shooting lanes and then puts the puck on net, right? It doesn't need to be a bomb. It just needs to get there and it needs to get past the first forechecker, right? So, or offensive forward that's taking you out from the point or trying to check you, right? So when he does that, everything moves over, the goaltending moves over, the net front presence moves over. It gives everybody more of a shot. It has to have everything sort of reallocate to where it's supposed to be. And that quick little shot on net is just where all those points are going to come from. And if that's what Quinn does so well too, right? He moves the defenders around. He's moving the chess piece around before he's trying to get the shot on net. So as advertised, solid in the defensive zone. I do think that coming to Vancouver is going to ultimately help his game. But yeah, between him and Tucker Poolman and seeing Demko do his thing, a lot of these players are looking like the players that we sort of are hoping they can be, and some that we have high expectations for in the form of OEL and Thatcher Demko.
I think he's just a more talented Brent Sopel, basically walking the line and better.
Oh my God.
Like, is that a reach? Is that a reach?
Let's see his Christmas decorations first, and then we'll talk.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
No, you summed that up pretty good, Ted. I was very impressed in the first game. He's like, he has the wrist shot from the point that Alex Edler always wished he had. You know, like it actually makes it to the net and it goes in. So hey, good to see him.
Number 23 scored. It only took how many games to get there?
You know, Edler never got that 100th goal last year, but
it's coming. We'll see it on a highlight reel somewhere. You just made an ooh sound like you're about to do something important.
Me?
Oh, what are you zipping?
Oh, my headset's about to die, so I'm gonna take care of that.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So yeah, I absolutely love. Again, one game in, OEL. Welcome to the Canucks. We're gonna love you. You're the 23. You're the son we never had. Sorry, Edler. Love you too. R.I.P. your Vancouver career. He'll be back. He'll be in our Ring of Honor and all that jazz. It'll be fine. We're gonna get over it. It's gonna be absolutely fine. Can we please? Oh wait, you want one more thing before dudes and guys? I guess Brady, you wanted to make sure we got to this. You know.
I do know.
Okay, set it up.
The my Twitter, was it my Twitter one?
No, Mr.
Okay, maybe I don't know then.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about fits throughout the season, NHL player fits, and someone decided to choose violence tonight as he arrived to the rink. I'm pretty sure he
I know this
sells
one now.
like nuclear warhead vapes as his crime of choice. So I don't know, what does this guy do? Wrong answers only.
Styling and profiling. He kind of looks like Ric Flair.
He looks like
space glasses.
Like, oh man, like how much do you think those glasses cost?
Look how much confidence he has in that smile. Like that smirk says it all.
I mean, I could wear the same thing and I'm not going to amount to the same amount.
Can you bring it up one more time?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like I'm looking at a 65-year-old, 25-year-old who is also a supervillain in an early 90s RoboCop movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, RoboCop for sure. Or like Austin Powers maybe or something like that.
The long hair, like receding hairline thing. I mean, he is the exact opposite of Austin Matthews.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't think of anything else to describe it. Like those glasses, man. They're like the glasses that they throw on like the Compton troll when like somebody like you see like the raccoon steal from the cats or whatever, and he's got like the Compton troll glasses that go on. It looks like that. I don't know. It's hard to look at. I don't like looking at it. The turtleneck also makes it extra gross.
It's just like future villain. I like the RoboCop idea. Like, but I think he sells like nuclear warhead vapes.
Maybe he's going to Gotham. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys want to kill the Batman? Let's take a ride on my motorbike. That I get somebody to drive for me because it's a 2-seater. Because that would be his weird thing, I think. I think that would be his weird thing. Hey, can we do it now? Please?
Let's do it.
Call it out.
Worked hard on this, you guys. It's
okay.
Time. We're back. Dude,
my battery may not last, so if I'm gone, I'm gone.
Wait.
Okay.
Dude, what does mine say? You guys! Dude, what does mine say? Guys!
That's pretty good, right? That's pretty
I mean, it was good. Kind of a disaster at the same time, but good. I would give it a solid 8 out of 10.
I have some trivia. And I can't remember if I already told you guys.
I like trivia.
let's just pretend I didn't tell you if I did. So,
Well, I'm listening.
can you name the 2 movies that I pulled quotes from for that?
Ashton Kutcher.
That was
Where's my
actually,
car?
yeah, that's Dude, Where's My Car? And I think was it
And
both
are
of them, or was it actually Sean William Scott?
Yeah, I was
It
getting
was
there.
both of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the second one,
dude.
you guys
Was
know?
it- are you looking for the 2 movies?
Yeah,
Well, there was an explosion. That could have been from any trailer from like
the guy
90
yelling, "Guys!"
Oh,
You guys know what
that's
movie that is?
freaking Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
At the
Want to hear the most
restaurant.
annoying sound in the world?
That's not what you came to hear.
Yeah.
The
all that,
podcast.
all that
is
fucking
such a
ketchup and mustard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had that with the
Exactly.
Bobby Wing from Wings.
So,
Did that for
yeah,
sure.
those are the 2 movies came to mind. Put something together. Hope you guys like it. So,
Yeah, it's fun.
Solid.
dudes and guys, we're back. So, who wants to kick
Okay.
us off?
Oh, so many
Ted,
people.
you're about to die, so why don't you go ahead?
That's
Okay,
yes.
we're going for guys first.
Yes.
Guys first. It's not like he was super bad, and I feel like it was moral victory night the other night. So I think if I'm gonna pick somebody, I was expecting a little more from Jason Dickinson, specifically in the dot.
Mm.
Yeah.
Only going 2 for 8 on a guy who we're going to be leaning on all year to be a defensive presence for this team as a checking line forward. I wanted to see a little bit more from the faceoffs from Jason Dickinson. I don't know if that's the regular or if he is just like not good on faceoffs. I would assume as an elite defensive player that he's probably better on faceoffs than advertising this one game. But
Yes.
yeah, that's a real reach because I was really happy with everyone's effort last night. So I'll take my dude there in Dickinson.
Brady, who do you got? Who's your guy?
Oh man, guys was tough this week. It's always
All one
hard.
game
It's
to
always
choose from.
always hard on one game. You never want to be too nasty to these guys on the first game of the night.
I'm going to be the jerk here. You have to pick
Okay.
your worst favorite player.
My guy of the week, Duncan Keith.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if you know
Yeah.
the rules for this. You can't pick Duncan Keith from the other.
No?
No.
Come on, it's been one game. Come
Yeah,
on.
Yeah, that's like Ted talking about mashed potatoes. We already know he doesn't like mashed potatoes. You have to pick something else.
Okay. Guy of the week, Zach McEwen. Does that count?
No.
No.
How do you do
Dude,
this?
You
How do
need
you-
another week off, I think.
How do you spend almost 3 seasons escaping the goat and riding the fence here? What's like you gotta just pick a guy.
I don't have one, you guys.
Yes,
I think
get off the
it
clock.
was a good team effort, to be honest.
Oh, jeez. Are you
There wasn't
back
anyone
again?
that stuck out who was horrible. You
Guys, I'm a betting bro again, and everything is rainbows and unicorns.
Let's hear
and
your guy, Ryan. Why don't you go? You tell me your guy.
You know what? Is
This
Elias
is
Pettersson-
also your other way of getting it out. You always say, "Okay, fine, then let's hear yours, Ryan."
Yeah, just you clearly have one. I do clearly have one. So it's Elias Pettersson.
Man, no, I don't think I do. To be
It's,
honest,
it's you're setting a precedent. It's only game 1. You got to pick somebody.
Like I had one game and I already have a guy. How easy is that? It's Elias Pettersson. I thought for a guy that just inked a brand new deal, he had the moves. Don't get me wrong, but he didn't finish. He got an opportunity on the power play. It still kind of looked like he needs a little bit of work there. I want to see game 1 rookie year Elias Pettersson, especially against the Edmonton Oilers. Come on, man. Tyler Myerson goes hits and Duncan Keith. You don't have a clap bomb to put on for the fans. It's against the Edmonton Oilers. You own the Edmonton Oilers. Elias Pettersson, by this time next week, we better have figured ourselves out. There you go.
There
That's how
you
easy it
go,
is.
Brady. That was a terrible take by Ryan, but he still gave it. So even you should give a take.
I should give a take. Okay. No, I'm not.
That's not cool.
Oh my god.
That's not
I don't
cool,
have a
man.
guy this week. I'm sorry. I don't. I think everyone played. They played well.
Where is my?
It's not just
Where's
play
my?
bad. It's
No,
just like who was
Brady's
just
on
like-
mute for right now.
Who was just a pedestrian? Like who was there? Like
Just wait. I've muted him until he figures it out. Okay,
Was
you're
I on
back.
mute?
He wasn't
I
bad.
muted
Like he
you.
wasn't good.
How much
I
of that?
muted you.
How much of that did you catch?
Oh no, I just muted you.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So now you have to have something because now I'm angry. You've
Not even
angered
somebody
me.
was average. Everybody was outstanding. They were all dudes.
No one was a guy. No one went out there and had
Wrong.
a bad game.
No, it's
Wrong.
not about bad. It's just being average. Just like,
Did you not expect more from, let's go, Vasily Podkolzin? How about, why did you not rant and rave about Jack Rathbone?
he can't do it. He doesn't have a mean bone in his body. He
Yeah,
can't say bad
let's
things.
move on to dudes, you guys.
He can't do it. He can't do it. Game 1, he's already escaping it.
Okay,
I'm
you
too
get
positive.
to go last. You get to go last for dudes because you did not earn that right. Ted,
That's fair.
fire away.
I'm gonna take.
Are you gonna take away my dude rights?
I'm gonna take Little Nils. He's Little Nils Hoglander. The guy was everywhere. I noticed him by far the most out of any Canuck forward.
Mm-hmm.
Buzzing, bouncing in and out, shorthand shots. Like he seems like he's got a little more whip on his shots compared to last year already. So, yeah, I mean, if we're gonna see that from Hoglander all year, already 2 assists, a bunch of shots on goal, 4 of them, I think, over almost 16 minutes of ice time. Yeah, heck of a player, especially for one that's playing on the third line right now. So Nils Hoglander.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I liked Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes was my dude of the game /week. It's just so good to see him in a Canucks uniform again, doing the things that he does. It wasn't his most impressive game by any means, but he got the job done. And if I'm not mistaken, did he not score a goal too? Did Huggy Bear not score?
He did.
A big, important goal.
He did.
You know what? It was a defender's night for the Vancouver Canucks, even though they did end up on the losing side of that in a trivial shootout. It's great to watch Quinn Hughes play. He is so much fun, and the fact that he did pot one, a pretty iffy one too, to say the least. Like Mike Smith should have had that for sure. It's good to know that he gets to be among the elite of this team for at least 6 years. So. Thanks for being on this team. We love you, Quinn. Happy birthday. Way to go.
Brady, are you going to pick everybody?
I'm going to pick the 1994 playoff Canucks because they were fun.
No, I'm going to go with the number 1 goaltender, Thatcher Demko. Big, in my opinion, he's going to have to be the MVP of this team this year if we're going to get anywhere. We're just obviously we're not very stacked on D. We're very offensive minded, and Demko's gonna have to stand on his head. And he had a good performance. It's gonna be the first full year of him being like a full starter. He had Holtby last year, but 56 game season. Now he's the guy, and he's playing with confidence. 65 minutes ice time last night. He stopped 32 of 34 shots for a .941 save percentage, and like I said, he's doing it with confidence. Good way for him to start the season, and I'm excited to see where he can take this year. I have high hopes for him. I'd love to see him in the Vezina conversation. Obviously, it's early, but great start for Demko. My dude of the week.
Speaking of confidence, did you see Braden Holtby safe? Absolute, was it tonight in Dallas? Absolute robbery. Just cleaned a dude's clock on a massive breakaway save. Like it was the save that we probably didn't get in Vancouver, and he did.
Was it just like leather larceny or what?
It was larceny. It was so larceny. And can I rat you out, Brady? Can I?
Sure.
Because he was so unconfident in his guys. He says this was a half hour ago, dudes. But I say no guys. So he was so worried that he had nothing to bring to this. I'm outing you.
I think in the past, when it's been in situations like this, sometimes we don't do guys, and it didn't really feel like a guy's kind of week to me. So that's sticking to my guns.
To be clear, that what a guy is, the definition of a guy was just average or worse.
Okay,
so you have to be shit just to. But everybody couldn't have played like dudes. But in your opinion, they did. That's cool. I'm here for it. I saw a quick Twitter question. I can't remember, and I want to give him a shout out because I think it's a good question. But he posted a poll, and it was, hey, a lot of people are saying that Demko stole this game. Did he steal a point? Did he steal a point?
Yes.
Or did the Canucks win a point?
Oh, did he?
I disagree. I think the Canucks won the point considering they crawled their way back into the game and actually ended up out shooting Edmonton.
Sorry, I did misspeak on that. I think the Canucks actually them as a team stole the point or won a point, whatever you want to call it. I don't
Yeah.
think it was Demko's steal. Part of the team, obviously, you do need a hot goaltender, but I think they earn their points up front.
I agree. I don't think this was a Demko steal. It might have felt like it because there was a lot of shots. But Brady, you're right. There was more Edmonton Oilers Vancouver Canucks shots this night, but for all intents and purposes, could have won this game very easily.
Is it intensive purpose or intents and purposes? Like, are the purposes?
What did I say?
I'm asking a question.
What's your intent?
Are they intensive purposes? Like intense?
Sometimes you just got to nip it in the butt. It's not nip it in the butt.
Yeah, that's good. All right, this has been fun. We have a few other things, but you know what? This is a good experience. A good practice round.
This was a good.
It was a good. We did the good. So good to see everybody. Brady, welcome back.
Yeah.
You got a little bit of rust on you. You're going to need to up your dudes and guys game for next week. And you also forgot our partner. There we go. Summer skates. Make sure we got to get back on that. We're a little bit lazy on that. So Ted's just pointing into midair. You just get it done, whatever. So make sure you enter the 3-for-1 contest where we want to get a winner for this week. First week of the NHL. And of course, he brings the bucket hat. So we are on the Dean Blundell Network, the PP1 Podcast, on behalf of Brady in the dungeon, doing some BCIT journalism out there, doing a great job. Check out his stuff. We got, I don't know, what
Kenny West Side.
What Canadian, who's the crab in the bucket guy?
Chaos?
Yeah, we got Chaos.
Nice.
Is he Canadian? He's isn't he Canadian?
Yeah, I think he's from Toronto.
Yeah, I don't know. The bucket hat just reminded me of Chaos, and I hated that song, but I like you. Ted, aka Chaos. I'm Ryan. This is the PB1 Podcast. The Canucks are back. Life is good. I'm wearing a fake gold chain. Ted just turned 40. Brady's Bob's son. Have a great week, folks. Peace out.
Nice.